Hi, this is Seema Raghunath. This is the video that I had planned to do instead of the other one, which was dedicated to the 5 circles of human existence. Quiet leadership. This is what this video is about. For people who don't know, quiet leadership as a concept was birthed about 15 years ago. The West adopted it really soon and they just loved the idea and the concept. And we saw the Western leaders move in much faster. It came into India about 8 years ago, and it hasn't moved anybody's needle anywhere actually, because most leaders still prefer their original styles. If you ask Indian leaders, 8 out of 10 don't know the components of people leadership at all. If there's a why, that can be answered by this statement that most of our leaders are exceptionally good, functional leaders. And people leadership components are not really what they have focused on because our education system does not cover this. So for most of our leaders, if it is a doctor, if it is an engineer or CA or whatever the area of work, or if it's general management and MBA, yeah, they're going to be good at what they learned while they were in a classroom, but to have an ability to use their own personal skills, to work on their behavioral abilities, to have human sensitivities, to be culturally sensitive, to have a global perspective. No, that's not particularly a focus point because it never has been. For many of these leaders today, you see that there is an ability to really do the job as far as the business portions are concerned. But if an organization is a very mature organization that also gives you people goals, that's where you will see the gaps appear. Now, why does this kind of issue continue to linger for years and years? Although there might be books on it and videos on it and people are talking about the subject in small little pockets. I won't say that it's a very popular subject. Quiet leadership is a huge demand on you as a person and as a professional. So it's not like a natural orientation that gets a lot of claps. Humility is a very important component. Again, something that's not natural because in this part of the world, where economy is kind of gone through a crazy boom in the last few years, everybody's kind of running to kind of overkill the next guy and try to prove to the neighborhood and to the families that they've done best compared to others that they know. And for as long as the world is in a competitive state, quiet leadership may not get enough room. Quiet leadership gets room where you're possibly as a community or society on the fourth level of Maslow's hierarchy. I want you to go back to the 80s and try to understand what was happening in the world. There are a lot of products, there are a lot of consumers, but consumers' buying power wasn't so great. So the same products are being sold to the same customers. Even if there was an incremental change or an improvement in the product, it's the same people who can buy because haves and have-nots were a big wide gap. Now, 2000s, what's changed is that there are a lot of people who can afford, a lot of people who can buy. Global markets kind of fused to becoming a global bazaar. And suddenly, the old method of selling does not work. In the 80s, it was a hustler. The style was hustling. The style of getting the job done was hustling. The style of leadership was hustling. So, a hustler would be somebody who's atrocious, arrogant, bullying, gets into a verbiage of abuses and is completely fine with ridiculing somebody or ruining somebody's esteem if need be, but would apply so much pressure that the other person either caves in or gets the job done. Now, this is the stuff that would get applause. This is the kind of guy who walked away with, oh, he's aggressive and he's a go-getter and he knows how to get the job done. Getting the job done somehow was the 80s big focus. And people who come from this era, they actually have a hangover because they didn't do much on themselves even in the 90s, and they pretty much slept through the 2000s, and then the years after that. Now you're in 2020. You're already in 2020 and the world has already moved. But has this bunch of older leaders realized? Not many have. And we're seeing a conflict now at the workplace where you have younger leaders, more mature leaders, leaders with global exposures for whom this style of leadership just does not work. For them, it's blasphemy. It's blasphemous to have leaders who position themselves as greater than others, who have the audacity to talk of someone else's lower position in a public space, or to remind others of their greater position, or to refer to their own rank, or to suggest that their place of power can decide their other person's future, termination, end of life, and so on and so forth. Megalomaniac leadership is a part of this type of 80s hustler leadership. It was all okay to do all of this at a time when somehow business has to be done and numbers have to be delivered and we have to stay profitable. See, those days are over. We're in a grand economy. We're in a grand state of emerging markets. And in this space, suddenly you moved away from sales and the focus is service. The minute it becomes service, the focus is how. How are you getting the job done? How are you managing sales? How did you bring your numbers to what it is? And how are you going to sustain your position in the market? How are you going to retain these people who are there? The questions are on engaging the people. Are you inspiring the people? How in the world will a hustler inspire anyone? Hustler never inspires. Hustler only removes people who might compel them to become an inspiration. In today's world and dichotomy of existences, you have a bunch who are from the old school, who are the hustlers, and you have a new school, which are the evolved, quiet leadership style. The quiet leadership style leaders are the survivors, and they are going to make a grand change in the way people are treated, people leadership is understood, it is demonstrated, and how the next generation is going to experience the corporate workplace. Stay tuned, because I will be doing a few more sessions on sub-subjects of people leadership soon. Thank you.